What's up guys, JK Disc Golf here, and today I'm going to be bringing you my list of the most underrated disc golfers. I wanted to keep coming with the disc golf content as we're on this short hiatus up until May, so I want to make different types of videos for you guys. I want to keep you guys entertained in the disc golf scene, and I'm going to shed a little bit of my opinion so you guys can get a little bit of my mindset and what I'm thinking about the disc golf community. So we're going to be jumping into the list of my most underrated disc golfers, and the first thing we have to settle is, what does being underrated mean? So obviously my first tier is you can't be in the top 10 or even top 25 of the power rankings. So I think that if you are in this list, you have no business being underrated because obviously a lot of people know you. You're not very underknown. So I think that that's obviously the biggest tier. And if you're asking why is Ricky Wysocki not on this list, guys, come on. I'm not going to put a two-time world champion on the most underrated. They have to be unknown by mass majority of people, or their numbers and their statistics are unknown. Because some of the guys on this list I was kind of surprised and shocked by. But without further ado, guys, let's jump right into my list and see who I think the most underrated disc golfers are. So first up, I have Ascari Vikstrom. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, guys. But I had no idea who this kid was going into the Las Vegas Challenge this year. But I found out he's a 10-15 rated disc golfer, which is fantastic. That's some big rating. And for being someone who is more unknown, I had no idea who he was. But after I saw some footage of him on the Las Vegas Challenge on the chase card, and he was putting up some fantastic numbers. And this tournament is as big as it gets, guys. This is the real deal. And I had no idea who he was, and he was putting up consistent numbers. And his forehand, his backhand, and even his putt were just all so good. So after watching the Las Vegas Challenge, he took 7th. So that's no joke, guys. Like I said, this is a big tournament. He beat out some big names. And it was just awesome to see him go out every day putting up similar numbers and just very minimal mistakes, which you need to do if you want to be on the top list of the disc golfers. And that's exactly what he was doing. And he's kind of the pinnacle of the underrated people, because even I didn't know who he was. And trust me, I know a lot of disc golfers. I keep up with the latest news. I try to keep myself very well informed, and I just didn't know who he was. So going into the Memorial, he took 24th place. And that might not seem like the best placement, but this tournament, again, it starts off the Disc Golf Pro Tour. It's a lot of the big names pros' first tournament, so you have majority of your biggest names in the sport competing at this tournament, and this is such an easy course to attack. So 24th by far is not a bad placement. Taking in top 25, that's a great score, and competing with some of the best in the game, I think that he's very much where he should be right now, and I wouldn't be surprised to see his name up there in the coming years, because he is still young and rated 10-15. That's like pushing the majority of the touring pros. He's almost to that next level, and I can think if he continues to grind, he will have no problem in the coming disc golf seasons. My next player is Thomas Gilbert. He's rated 10-14. I think a lot more people know of Thomas Gilbert, but they don't know how far he smashes. He actually won a distance competition this year, beating out Simon Lizotte. And if that doesn't catch your guys' ears, I don't know what will, guys, because everybody know how far Simon drives, and Thomas Gilbert beat him. If you guys didn't catch Simon Lizotte's vlog, Thomas Gilbert was actually on the vlog, and I think he's just an awesome character, an awesome person, as well as a great disc golfer. So he very much tours in Canada, so you see him a lot in the Canadian tournaments, which he dominates. I was looking back at some statistics in the Canadian tournaments he plays in, and he's winning a lot of those. So that's awesome to see that he's touring a little bit northern than a lot of us are used to, and hopefully disc golf spreads a little bit more. We get a little bit more coverage. We have more disc golfers going up to Canada. I know there's a few tournaments, but not a lot. And it'll be awesome to see Thomas be on more tournaments up where he's used to, and to see him crush at courses that he's used to playing, because obviously something up there, and he's doing very well. 10-14, again, not the best rating, but it's cresting that next level tier. And I think that, again, if Thomas Gilbert can really hone in on finishing tournaments. Now, I see the problem with his Disc Golf Pro Tour events and more of the top tier events is he falls off at the end, and he doesn't really have that killer instinct to where he wants to just put it away. Something that Paul McBeth is praised on, something that he just does very well. He just kind of ends it there. He never lets up on the gas. And Tom is kind of a little lax on that consistency, especially later in the rounds when he's up there. He just seems like he's not putting up the best numbers in the end to hold on to bigger tournament wins. So I think if the more he gets prepared in the ending of the tournaments, the better he's going to be, and we're going to see that rating shoot up, and we're going to see him on a lot more lead cards, and he's going to be a great disc golfer in years to come. And hopefully, like I said, we get a little bit more Canadian footage, because I'd love to see him go up there and play. Now, my next player, you guys might be questioning this a little bit, but I'm going to go with Nico Castro. And the reason I'm picking him is I would say he's never the favorite. He's never the guy you look at and you're going to say, he's got this. He's been looked down upon his whole career. Now, that might be because of his attitude, it might be because of his flair, honestly. He's kind of out there, especially in the way he dresses, but I think is just pure awesome. I think Nico is very underrated because he's not taken seriously. He's rated 1022, which I would say does crest that peak level. I think 1020 is where you look at a guy and you're like, all right, they're legit. So he's rated 1022. He's won 3-time player of the year. So obviously he's done great things, but I still just don't think he's looked at as a top-notch pro. Like when we look at Paul, Ricky, I would say even Kevin Jones, we look at them and we're like, yes, they are the pinnacle of disc golf. They are what we want disc golf to represent. But then we have Nico. And the funny thing is when a lot of people think of disc golf, I think a picture of Nico Castro pops up in their mind. That hippie guy who just loves the sport, dresses crazy, acts crazy. He is what everyone envisions disc golf to be. When Paul might be what we want everyone to envision, it's definitely what Nico is, what people really envision. So I think that's why he's underrated, is because he is looked down upon a little bit. And you guys might not agree fully, but I just think that he just isn't taken as seriously. And now he's finally got that West Side sponsorship, so maybe this will elevate him to that next level. He's actually got a full bag. He can commit. He's got a sponsorship to back him up fully. So I think this might be that next level that pushes him in the years to come to be on that next level, to see him winning a lot of tournaments. And speaking of winning tournaments, he actually has over 100 wins. So that's a lot of wins, guys. 100 and professional wins. So I think even looking at that statistic alone, I think if you would not look at the name and you see someone who's won 100 tournaments, you would think there are this huge, great disc golfer. It's not really someone you'd look at as Nico Castro, which is fine. But like I said, I think years to come, we're going to see Nico elevate. We're going to see him on that next level, and I'm excited to see what he does. And my final underrated disc golfer that I want to talk about is Eric Oakley. Again, he is rated 1017. I think, again, that's that area where where he almost is that top level, but he just needs to crest that hill. So he's so close. And the most surprising statistic I found about Eric Oakley is he's only won 3 events. And that just, I don't know why, but it really surprised me. Especially when I looked at his winnings, he's won over $500,000 or $400,000. And that's crazy to think that he's only won 3 tournaments, but won that much money. So I think that people, again, don't really look down upon him, but don't think he's that top level because of his form. His form just, I don't want to use the word ugly, but it's very unorthodox. And people look down upon him because they don't think that he's doing it, quote unquote, right. But I would say his form is smooth. He's got his form down to a science. He knows what he needs to do. And it might not look like everybody else's, but he knows that it's good. He knows that he has the mechanics that make the disc fly the way he needs it to fly. And as well as he has such a smooth forehand, and I think he is one of the most underrated forehands in the game. So I think that's just all these factors together that makes him such an underrated player. And I think we can see that he really needs to focus on putting tournaments away more. He needs to really focus on the winning. And if you guys didn't know, Eric Oakley actually started playing disc golf a little bit like Brodie Smith. He jumped in right in the professional scene. He didn't really mess around with any of the other little branches. He just jumped right into MPO and really only focused on that. So from the beginning, he was getting that build-up. He was having to fix his game based on the best of the best. And I think that kind of molded him into the player he is today, which makes him very underrated. So I want you guys to let me know who is your list for the most underrated disc golfer, and I want you guys to drop a like if you want me to get a part 2, and I will list more underrated disc golfers. And if you guys have any other ideas of any lists you guys want me to make during this little break, definitely leave it in the comment section below. I want to hear your guys' opinions, your guys' thoughts, and everything you guys want to tell me. But as always, guys, make sure to keep throwing.